a dead man, a beach, a code, and more questions than answers. Welcome back to part 3 of Unsolved and Unexplained Mysteries. If you've been riding this eerie train with us from the beginning, you already know we've tiptoed through vanishing people, phantom creatures, and freaky cases of possible reincarnation. And now we're diving into stories that come wrapped in strange messages, puzzling, chilling, and leading nowhere. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next. Smash that like, comment your own encounters or thoughts on these wild mysteries, and share this with that one friend who always says, "Nothing freaks me out." Let's see if this changes their mind. Now, let's get into one of the most haunting mysteries to ever come out of Australia. Picture this. December 1st, 1948. The sun rises over Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. It's just another quiet morning, until someone spots a man slumped against the seawall. He's dressed sharply, suit, tie, polished shoes. But he's not moving, not breathing. He's dead. Now, that's strange enough. But what comes next? It turns this from just a sad story into something straight out of a Cold War spy novel. Police arrive. They check his pockets. Nothing to tell them who he is. No wallet. No ID. Even the tags on his clothes? Cut off. It's like someone didn't want this man to be recognized. Or maybe he didn't want to be known. They send his body off for autopsy. Cause of death? Officially, unknown. There's no sign of violence, no clear poison, nothing obvious at all. But the pathologist was convinced this man had been poisoned. Just with something undetectable. At this point, people are already whispering. Espionage? Suicide? A hit? But it gets weirder. Weeks later, police find something bizarre in a hidden pocket of the man's pants. A tiny rolled-up piece of paper with 2 words printed neatly on it. Tamam Shud. It's Persian. It means ended or finished. Dramatic, right? Turns out those words come from the final page of a book called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of philosophical poetry about life, fate, and death. They track down the exact book those words were ripped from. Crazy coincidence, or maybe fate itself. Someone had tossed it into a car parked near the beach around the time the man died. In that book, a code. Yup, a real-life, handwritten code. A scrambled mess of letters that nobody, not codebreakers, not military experts, has ever been able to crack. And underneath the code, a phone number, linked to a local nurse. But when questioned, she said she didn't know the man. Still, when she saw his plastered bust, they made a cast of his face, she looked visibly shaken. She never gave a real explanation. Now the theories fly. Was he a Cold War spy? Was the nurse involved? Some think he was killed by Soviet agents. Others think he was a jilted lover taking his own life, making one final dramatic statement. There's even a theory that he had a child with that nurse, and that the child grew up never knowing the truth about his father's mysterious death. Years later, researchers pointed out physical similarities between the Somerton man and the nurse's son. Same ears, same teeth, same body structure. Creepy? Absolutely. Conclusive? Not quite. DNA analysis would eventually offer some leads. But nothing that tells us who this man truly was or why he died so secretly. Here's the part that keeps people hooked after all these years. Every answer brings more questions. Why were the tags cut off his clothes? Why carry a secret message that means ended? Who wrote that code? And who was the nurse really? Even with modern forensics and the internet sleuth army on the case, the mystery just refuses to give up its secrets. We've got a dead man, no ID, possibly poisoned, a ripped piece of Persian poetry, a random code, and a terrified nurse. It's like someone tried to script the perfect cold case, but forgot to give us the ending. Here's why the Tamam Shud case hits so deep. Because it could have been any of us. A man just appears, dies without a trace, and leaves behind breadcrumbs that don't lead anywhere. There's no satisfying conclusion. No aha moment. Just a haunting what if. It feels like you're staring at a locked door. You know there's something behind it. Maybe something huge, but every key you try just breaks off in your hand. And the longer the mystery sits, the more you start to wonder. Was the answer ever there to begin with? Now, I want to hear from you. Seriously. Drop a comment down below and tell me what you think happened to the Somerton man. Was he a spy? A heartbroken lover? Or something else entirely? And if you've got your own mystery story, something strange you can't explain, something you saw or heard that never made sense, don't be shy. Let's swap stories. And of course, if you haven't already, like this video so more people find these unsolved mysteries. Subscribe to keep digging into the unknown with us. Comment your thoughts or experiences. Share this with anyone who loves the strange, the spooky, and the unsolved. So far, we've walked through the foggy clues of the Tamam Shud case, an unidentified man, a pocket note, and a whole lot of questions. But now we're stepping onto the actual pavement. Like, literally, because this next mystery isn't hidden in the woods or behind closed doors. It's baked right into the streets of our cities. Now let's talk about tiles. Not the kind in your kitchen. The kind that show up mysteriously in public roads, with messages from beyond. Imagine you're crossing the street in downtown Philadelphia. You glance down, and boom, there it is. A strange little rectangle embedded in the asphalt, about the size of a license plate. Letters cut into linoleum and glued into the ground, worn by weather and tires, but still readable. The tile says something like, Toynbee Idea, IN Movie 2001, Resurrect Dead, on planet Jupiter. Say what? No signature, no explanation, just that. And it's not just one. These things have been popping up in cities all over the US, Philly, Chicago, New York, Boston, even outside the country in South America. Always the same theme, same wording, same cryptic references. Who made them? How did they get there? And what does that message even mean? Let's try to break it down, piece by piece. Though I'll warn you, it's like trying to do a puzzle where half the pieces belong to another box. Toynbee Idea. This likely refers to Arnold J. Toynbee, a British historian and philosopher who believed civilizations rise and fall based on their ability to respond to challenges. He also dabbled in the idea of humanity rebounding after collapse. In movie 2001, that's Stanley Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey, which, if you've seen it, is basically a mind-bending, slow-burn journey through space, evolution, and mysterious black monoliths. It's also got Jupiter and themes of rebirth and transcendence. Resurrect Dead. Okay, this is where it gets heavy. Some think this is literal. The idea that the dead, maybe all of us, can be brought back to life using some futuristic or cosmic method. On planet Jupiter. And where will this happen? On Jupiter. Not Earth. Not Mars. Jupiter. Why? Nobody knows. You string it all together, and it sounds like something, wants us to consider that resurrection could happen on Jupiter, and that Kubrick's film, which already weirded a lot of people out, somehow planted the seed. But the real question is, who is trying to tell us this? Let's talk suspects. Or should I say, artists? Prophets? Vigilante philosophers? Most signs point to one man. A reclusive figure from Philadelphia named James Marasco. He was reportedly a carpenter who started calling radio talk shows in the 1980s with this same message, about Toynbee, resurrection, and Jupiter. He claimed there was a secret group trying to spread this idea. But here's the twist. When journalists tracked down his address, they met someone else entirely, someone who denied being involved. Some believe James Marasco was just a pseudonym for a man named Severino Seviverna, a reclusive artist and possibly the true tile layer. A documentary called Resurrect Dead, worth checking out, by the way, digs deep into this theory. It suggests that Sevi was using a modified car floorboard to drop tiles onto hot asphalt while driving. The heat and traffic would embed the tiles over time without anyone seeing him do it. Clever? Extremely. Conclusive? Not quite. Here's where it gets messy. Some of the tiles include rambling side messages, longer rants about media control, government cover-ups, references to hell, and accusations that someone is trying to silence the message. Some people think it's the work of a mentally ill man trying to make sense of his world using symbols and metaphors. Others believe it's an artistic statement, like Banksy, but weirdly cosmic. And then there are the ones who think it's legit, that these tiles are real warnings, and we're just too distracted to see the danger coming. Whatever the case, it's like receiving a message in a bottle, except the bottle is buried in a city street, and the message is half-coded, half-poetic madness. There's something deeply unsettling about the tiles. Maybe it's because they appear in places we take for granted. Crosswalks, intersections, parking lots. Places we pass every day without noticing. And then, one day, you see the tile. You read the words. You start Googling. And suddenly, you're in the rabbit hole. Because the message doesn't explain itself. It just exists and dares you to make sense of it. It's like an itch in your brain that won't go away. And maybe that was the point all along. Here's the strange part. The tiles are disappearing. Cities repave roads. Construction crews dig them up. Weather wears them down. But recently, new tiles have started popping up. Some with slightly altered wording, some cleaner, newer. Are they copycats? New believers carrying on the message? Or is the original tiler still out there? Still dropping cryptic wisdom into the streets while the rest of us look the other way? Okay, now I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen a Toynbee tile in the wild? If so, where? And more importantly, what do you think it all means? Artistic message? A prophecy? Or a one-man mission lost to time? Drop your theories in the comments, because this one is a group effort. We may never solve it, but hey, talking about it might be part of the point. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe so you never miss a new bizarre tale. Comment your own thoughts, experiences, or mysteries. Share with your fellow truth seekers. A 72-second whisper from deep space that we've been waiting decades to hear again. Was it an accident or a message? If you've been following this wild ride, we've just explored the Toynbee tiles, cryptic street messages left behind by an unknown hand. But now, we're looking up, way up, because this next mystery, it didn't come from a person on Earth. It came from space. Before we dive in, quick nudge. Hit that like button if you love deep space weirdness. Smash subscribe so you don't miss the next signal from the unknown. And drop a comment. Do you think aliens have already tried to contact us? Let's talk about one of the most mysterious sounds ever recorded by human ears. A little thing astronomers like to call the wow signal. Picture it. Ohio State University. A radio telescope nicknamed the Big Ear is quietly scanning the sky, part of the university's search for extraterrestrial intelligence program, SETI for short. This telescope isn't taking pretty pictures of galaxies or spotting comets. Nope, it's listening, like really listening, for signals that shouldn't be there. Then, at 11:16 p.m. that night, it hears something. For 72 seconds, a powerful, focused radio burst, coming from the constellation Sagittarius, hits the telescope. It's loud, it's clean, it's precise, and then, gone, completely. A few days later, astronomer Jerry Ehrman is going through the data printouts, because this was the 70s, and everything was printed on actual paper. He's scanning rows of boring numbers and letters when something leaps off the page. In the middle of a routine printout, there's this. 6EQUJ5. Now, that may look like gibberish, but to Ehrman, it was anything but. That sequence meant the signal was stronger than anything they'd ever detected from space. So, what did he do? He grabbed a red pen and wrote one simple word next to the printout. Right there in the margin, wow. And just like that, history was made. Okay, so what makes this signal so mysterious? Let's break it down. It came from space, not from a satellite, not from Earth. It matched no known human-made transmission. It was at the hydrogen line. That's 1,420 megahertz, a frequency associated with hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe. Scientists figured, hey, if aliens ever wanted to get our attention, they'd probably send a signal there. It lasted 72 seconds. The exact amount of time the telescope would pick up a signal from a fixed point in space due to Earth's rotation. That's a big deal. It means it was coming from somewhere specific. It never happened again. They've tried to find it. Hundreds of times. Nothing. Nada. Silence. It was like space leaned in, whispered something for exactly 1 minute and 12 seconds, and never spoke again. So, what could this have been? Aliens? Obviously. Let's just get this one out of the way. SETI was literally listening for extraterrestrial life. They believed this was the kind of signal a civilization might send if they wanted to say, "Hey, we're here." The hydrogen frequency, the clarity, the suddenness, it all fits. If you're Team Aliens, this one's your Super Bowl. A secret satellite. Maybe it was a satellite signal that bounced or malfunctioned just right. Problem is, no known satellite matched the characteristics of the signal. And trust me, they checked. A natural phenomenon. Some have proposed things like a comet or a celestial event. In fact, a few years ago, a paper suggested a hydrogen cloud from a comet might be responsible. But critics argue that even comets can't create a signal that's strong and focused. A glitch or a fluke? Was it interference? A hardware hiccup? A perfectly timed freak coincidence? Maybe. But again, it showed up exactly where they were hoping to hear something unusual. Which makes it all the weirder. This is the part that keeps scientists and sci-fi fans alike up at night. No one's ever found another signal like it. SETI tried again. And again. And again. They pointed bigger telescopes at the same area of space. Nothing. And that makes it almost worse. Because if it had repeated, we might at least have a conversation going. But with just one signal, one whisper in the dark, it's like trying to solve a crime with one blurry photo and no body. You ever get a message from someone, just one message, and then they never text again? They leave you hanging, wondering what it meant? That's the WOW signal. It's been nearly 50 years, and we still don't know what we heard that night. Maybe it was just cosmic noise. Maybe it was a message. Maybe it was a wrong number from another galaxy. But it was something. Something that didn't belong. And maybe that's the scariest part. Here's a fun thought experiment. Let's say we confirm it. That the signal was intelligent. Would we reply? Think about that. Because on one hand, it's the ultimate connection. We're not alone. On the other, we're poking something in the dark that we can't see, can't reach, and definitely can't run from. We don't know who sent it, or what it meant. But the WOW signal is still out there, recorded forever, circling our collective curiosity like a comet that won't return. Was it just a blip? Or did we miss our one chance to answer back? Alright, it's your turn now. Do you think the WOW signal was alien contact? If it was, would you want us to respond? Or do you think it's just one of those things we'll never fully understand? Drop your theories in the comments below. I want to hear it all. And if you're loving these mind-bending mysteries, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more deep dives into the strange and eerie, share it with your fellow cosmic conspiracy theorists.